Okay, let's talk about the AI writer. So the AI writer is where you can select a template to create specific kinds of content. Your default view is all templates, so you can scroll down and sort of browse through ideas. Um, you can also select based on type. You can favorite, and when you favorite, it'll show up at the top on your dashboard right here, so that way you don't have to dive through a bunch of different things to find it again. Let's go back to AI Writer one more time. If you go into one of the templates, you'll see it should be fairly self-explanatory for the most part. So it'll tell you like what to be focusing on with these things. So you can choose to have more than one result just to see if there's a better output among the various outputs that you get from the AI. You can select language if necessary. You can select your model if you have that option available to you. 4.0 is the latest from OpenAI. Claude Opus is the biggest one from Anthropic, and then Gemini Pro is the biggest one from Google. Then you can write what your post is about or whatever the content is. Include brand is not something I have set up here, but your brand is essentially a default placeholder. So for example, maybe you're working for a I don't know, a SaaS company, an educational tech company. You might have their information saved in here to pre-populate, so you don't have to re-add that information every time. So perhaps your GC writing content, legal content on their behalf, or whatever the use case might be. You can select your company here. You select whatever the product or service is here, if applicable. And then including it means that the AI takes it into account. So you don't have to retype in whatever information that is. You can also have your company or brand be your own law firm. It can be a type of legal service, things like that. And including your brand is an option that should be present on every single page. If it's not, you can go ahead and open a support request, and I will take a look and try and get that rectified. But you should be able to do that at every page to sort of simplify the input process. Now let's go back to AI Writer Dash again. And this time we're going to look at creating custom templates, which is what advanced users may prefer to do. So up here, you'll see create custom template. You'll click here. You'll need to provide a name. Let's do, what's something? Email response to client. In your description, you'll want to put in something that you can easily look up and find. So if I didn't have a baby in one arm, I would be typing out something more complicated for you, but you get the idea. Email response to client. This could be something like email response to client. Use this template for quickly drafting responses to emails that otherwise might take a long time, right? So if I'm looking for like a time saver, or if I'm looking for something that interacts with clients, or if I'm looking for something specific to email, all of those keywords will hit, and then it'll show up in your results when you're trying to search for something. So that's helpful. Template category is as it sounds. So you can scroll through these and select as necessary. Template icons are from Font Awesome. So Font Awesome is probably something most of you have not heard of, but it's awesome. You just go to the website fontawesome.com. You can search for a type of icon. So Gavel is already up, but let's look at another one. So let's say, I don't know, superhero. I don't know if this will show up anything. It might not. Okay, and a mask showed up. Great. Okay, pro means it's paid. Alternatively, it's free. You can also filter into free, but you'll just click on this, which will copy it to the clipboard, paste it right here. Activate template is turning it off or on. So maybe you have too many templates in your dashboard and you don't want them all there. Maybe you're testing between a few different versions with your team, whatever the case. Ads, no. Let's do emails. User input fields. So this is, you can think of it like ad libs for the AI. So the custom prompt is what you're telling the AI to do. So say you figured out that, okay, whenever I talk to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI model you like to use, this particular prompt works. This is a good use case for it. So you can say, oh, I don't know, you are an executive assistant for an attorney. Your tone of voice is, and then this is where you'd fill in the blank. Okay, you might put in tone of voice. And then you would describe it. In this case, it's very self-explanatory, but let's do something different. So description is always required, but let's do select list field. So right here, there's instructions here. Make sure you read these instructions as they come up, right? Like you don't want to miss something, but basically comma separated options. So firm but fair. Collegial. Aggressive. De-escalation. De-escalating. And then we'll say it's required. And then we click the plus sign to create it's called a variable. So we'll click plus, and then it drops it in here. You can reuse it however many times you like. Your job is to draft responses to emails on my behalf. Now you can get pretty complex here. You can create multiple variables. I would suggest if you're new to this to start with one or two and just see how it goes before you start adding a bunch of them. But you can add a bunch of them. You can go up to theoretically no limit. But the more instruction you give to an LLM, the more broad your response tends to be. So keeping it granular is going to be really useful. And so we'll go into how you can use that to your advantage in the next video. But let's go ahead and create this template. Okay, custom template created successfully. If you scroll down to the bottom, and this is where you land if you go to AI Writer and then create custom template like we did earlier, you'll see down here all of your custom templates. And then you can edit them, you can activate or deactivate them, and you can delete them as necessary. So you can try it out if your team doesn't like it, or if you end up not liking it, you can go ahead and make changes to that as necessary. You can also find your template in whatever category you dropped it in. So in this case, it was emails, and you'll see we have our little mask icon right here. You can click in here and then use it. You'll see your options are here. You can include your brand. You can choose your model. You can choose the level of creativity. So creativity is it's about how the LLM approaches generation. So it's a numbers-based system, and if you want to go deep into the weeds on this, you can go to edu.promise.legal, and you'll see our website with some courses on how AI works. But basically, you can make it deterministic, where there's not any randomness associated with the generation. So it should be the same answer, or more or less the same answer every time. If you do repetitive, if you do imaginative, it goes a little bit off the wall. So it doesn't look for the most likely matches. It kind of goes out into the ether, and your results will vary with that. Um, Tone of voice. So this is actually included with all of them, but it's a more generic, like, personality type one versus like a stance type of voice. And then you can say how long you would like the result to be. This isn't always going to work because of how LLMs work. It's just not practical. They're not numbers counters. They are text generators, and so I always set it really high to try and get it to push higher, but it's gonna still land often around, I would say, 800 words traditionally. But I would also note that the latest model updates from OpenAI, at least, have created longer generations, and I know you can get longer generations with Claude by Anthropic. So just to set your expectations here, it's not going to be this long. And then you can set your number of results, and it will be anywhere between 1 and 50, and that means it'll generate that many results for you, based on based on your inputs. And that's, again, sort of to this creativity thing, right? So if you do repetitive, it should be the same answers. If you do imaginative, it'll be a bunch of very different answers. Original will be different, but it might have similar content. So let's go ahead and do 3. Let's try this. That might be it. It's because this is a demo account, I forgot which things I enabled. But here you go. We have 3 responses here. See, that's the aggressive form. If you were to do another one, also, by the way, look, total words 315, nowhere near this amount, right? To be fair, there's not much for the AI to go on. However, that number is almost meaningless. If you put it super short, then it's gonna try and cap it. It'll be more brief, but other than that, I don't find it to be a useful mechanism. Okay, now let's try de-escalating. Click generate, and it adds at the bottom. And you'll see, even though we didn't give it any input other than the tone of voice, it's still actually not bad. But yeah, so you can add multiple variables here, and then you can tweak it to your liking. So it could be that you paste the contents of your email in here, or whatever. Like, you can give it the bullet point version. All of that is fine. You have a full text editor here. You can also do specific things to the document. If you try and click, it'll say highlight on your target text first. So let's do that. Let's say, oh, let's shrink it. Or you can expand it. or you can give it a specific instruction for the whole thing, which will edit the whole thing. So be aware on the AI button, it'll be big changes. With the magic wand, it's inline. So inline means the text that you've highlighted. So there you go. And that is AI Writer in a nutshell.